Hi, my name is Susie and I am the owner of the Speckled Loon. If you are new to my channel, welcome. I'm so glad you're here and I hope you'll consider giving this a video a thumbs up and subscribing to my channel so you'll see more of this content in the future. If you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. I am so glad you're here to join us again. So what are we going to be doing today? It's so fun. We are going to be doing our Easter DIY decor kit. It consists of this little garland and these little signs that I'm holding up here. And you will get to see all of them when we get into our tutorials. I'm going to be showing how to paint and glue everything together and get it set up in your tiered tray so it'll look great in your home for just in time for Easter. And if you are interested in purchasing this kit, I would suggest that you click the link down in the description box. It will take you to my website and then you can click on through and purchase it if you are interested. And if you do, thank you so much. If you're just here to watch us create, that's fine too. Also, in the description box, I have everything listed that you need to complete the kit. Paint, glue, things like that I use. And if you click through on anything with a little asterisk on it, that is going to give me a small commission at no extra cost to you. It's just a thank you to me for referring people to these different companies to buy their paint and things like that. But you do not have to click through and use my link if you don't want to. I'm just here to show you how to create, give you some ideas, and a little inspiration for your Easter decor. So, without further ado, let's gather up all our materials and head on over to the craft room and make some Easter projects. Let's go. Here's everything that is included with your kit when you receive it. It's going to come in this small box similar to this, and it's going to have all these items. Each project is going to be unfinished, and it's going to be bagged up with all its little pieces and parts in its own individual bag. The trio of eggs comes with a stand, trio of bunnies comes with a stand, as does the truck sign. The hop on over does not, and then you have all the supplies for your beaded garland. And this is what the set looks like, all painted up. And what we're going to go over next is the supplies you're going to need to provide on your own to complete all the projects in the kit. Alright, as promised, here's a supply list that I've gathered for you. If you live someplace where it's conducive to spray paint, you can by all means go on outside and spray paint your pieces. I do not. I live where it's very cold. I'm in the Midwest and it's still winter here. And but when I do spray paint, I use this Rust-Oleum chalked. I find it at Walmart and at Menards, and it gives a nice finish. And when I can't spray paint, I do use the Waverly chalk paint. It gives better coverage than just the plain acrylic craft paints. I find it at Walmart. If you do not have a Walmart or don't like that brand, this home decor brand is really good, and you can find that at JoAnns, Hobby Lobby, or Micheals. For the smaller parts, if you wish, you can certainly use paint markers. These are from Arteza or Arteza. I'm not sure how it's pronounced. The link is down below where you can find them on Amazon, but they have this little tip. It can be a thick tip like this, or you switch it around and it's a fine tip, and it's great for your little pieces. For the larger base pieces, go ahead and use a foam brush, and for the small little letters and tiny pieces, you can also just use these makeup sponges from the Dollar Tree. The whole bag of them is $1.25, and you'll want to also pick up some baby wipes while you're there for some general cleanup. Other things that you will want to have is just a small pair of scissors. You're just going to need to cut some string on the garland. And then I like to have toothpicks for some general cleanup, and I use them as a needle to string my garland. And you will also want to have these little clamps if you can find them at your Dollar Tree. You get 6 in a pack for $1.25, and they help clamp down your items when you're gluing them to get the glue to set a little quicker and better. And then I like to keep some Q-tips on hand. And then for the glue, I apply it with a small little Q-tip toothpick in the little parts. And the glue again is from the Dollar Tree, and it's super glue. I use a different brand sometimes, but this one will work just fine. Well, let's get started with our first project. We are going to do the egg trio first, and I've got one already painted, you can see that, and it's also got the little slot on it for the stand that comes with it. And this is what it looks like unfinished. And I used green on one of the eggs, white on the base, I used yellow on the other egg, and then I used lavender. And I am going to show you now how everything kind of just fits together, and we'll go over it again. But there's one egg that's whole in the middle, and then the two on either sides have little slots where they line up with that egg. So we're going to do the base first, and then we will use a sponge dauber and do each egg. Again, I use yellow, green, and lavender. I'm going to use white on the base. You can use whatever color you want. Even an ombre paint would look really nice in the background, like an ombre pink to white or something like that for some extra Easter color. But I'm going to take a craft stick or a popsicle stick and just take a little bit of white paint out on the plate, and then I'm going to, of course, clean up my paint, or put away my paint and start painting. I am going to let you know that I see there's a little flicker at the top of the screen. I don't know why that is. It's only on this project, so if you can bear with me, I didn't have time to refilm it, so we're going to go ahead and start painting. And I start kind of in the middle of one egg and bring it out to the sides so I don't get a lot of paint globbed over on the sides. I like to keep my sides crisp. You can paint your sides if you want. That's just my personal preference. And so I'm going to continue painting here. And as I paint, while the paint is still wet, I'll be cleaning up the sides. I just hold it in other places while I'm painting. This is a fairly easy one to hold while you paint. And I'm doing this is the first coat. I will be doing 2 coats on everything here. I'm just going to show you the first coat because the second coat, of course, is identical and you don't want to sit and watch me paint all day. But here I'm just cleaning that up. I'm going to set that aside. 2 coats again. And I'm going to wrap this up in a little wet paper, or excuse me, one of my little wet wipes, and I'm just going to set that aside, and that keeps that brush from drying up. Now I've got some tape taped upside down or sticky side up on a paper plate. I do that so it kind of holds the smaller things in place. I'll do this for the eggs and for the letters on that other side, and then once I have it painted, I'm going to again take a baby wipe it clean, set it aside, let it dry, and I will do a second coat after it is dry. Then I'm going to proceed to do the middle egg, which is the green one with the circles, and I'm dabbing that all over. And then the same exact thing, clean up the edges and set it aside. The last one I'm doing in this lavender is in what I call a FIFO bottle. It's a condiment dispenser bottle. I just take a little out and I dab it on that way. And all those paints that I used on this project were the Waverly paints. So again, this is what it looked like after one coat, and then I'm going to bring it in and show you what it looks like after the second coat, and we will put it all together. So here it is after the second coat, and it's time to start gluing. So I'm going to get my glue ready, and I'd use a different glue. You can use that super glue from the Dollar Tree. That'll work just fine. I use this Star-Bond glue, and the only reason I use that is because I buy it in bulk because I do so many projects. It's rather expensive, but it's cheaper for me when I buy it in bulk. But the one from the Dollar Tree is going to work just fine. So I like to do the middle egg first, since the other two are designed to fit next to it. So I do the middle egg, and I just make sure everything's lined up before I press hard. Once I see that all the edges are lined up, I press down and I clamp it. Now, if I had a little bit of white paint that spilled over and I missed it, I just take my black marker out or my dark brown marker out, and I just touch it up, and it goes right over that and it looks great. So now I'm just repeating the process. I'm going to do a dry fit and then glue on the left egg, which is the yellow egg, and I'm just putting on my glue, and then same thing, I am going to line it up with that little curve and the sides, And then once it's good and lined up, I'm going to clamp it and then work on our third egg, which is our lavender egg. But again, you can use whatever color you want. I am going to place it up against and start adhering it. And that one is clamped as well. So now, after everything is dried, you can remove the clamps, and we are going to work with the little slotted base that comes with it, or slotted stand. There's a slot part and this little pie-shaped wedge, I would say, kind of a quarter circle. You're going to line that up with the bottom middle egg, that little quarter circle. Then you're going to put the stand on, and you're going to make a little mark. Sorry about my head getting in there. And you're just going to make a mark where the top of that stand is, or the slot is. And then you're going to put glue on the back of that slot, and you're going to line it back up with that line you just made, and press it down nice and hard. And then you can also take your clamps and clamp it on if you want. And I'm just checking to make sure that that still fits in there. But you can clamp it and then leave it to dry for a few minutes. Come back, take the clamps off, and then put your little kickstand in there, and then it just leans up against it. It is time for our second project, which is the Hop On Over mini sign. This sign is really cute. It's got this faux chicken wire base, little bunny, and the words hop on over, and it's framed as well. And I use yellow on the bunny, white on the words in the bunny tail, steel on the chicken wire, and truffle brown on the frame. And you can see this faint little outline where each letter goes, and that makes it so you know where each letter goes for placing it and ease of placement. Then again, there's the little frame. It only fits one way, so make sure you dry fit to get it on there correct. Has the bunny, and then the remaining pieces, the letters and the little bunny tail, have an adhesive backing on them. So you just peel to expose that little backing, and it's going to adhere right to wherever you put it instead of having to use glue on such little pieces. You'll find that you really like that feature. It's something that something new that I added into the kits for this month. So now next, I'm going to show it to you all painted up. There's the steel gray chicken wire. I used a makeup sponge for that with the steel because of all the holes in it. I did 2 coats. Did 2 coats on everything else as well. The frame and everything else, I also used the little foam makeup wedges. And then I'm going to be using the little clamps to clamp everything down. So I'm doing a dry fit on the frame just to make sure I've got it the right direction. And the reason I do that is to make sure that when I go to glue it, it will be correct. And so I have it correct, and I'm going to apply my glue. And once I have all the glue on, I like to stand up the backer, and I like to stand up the frame, and I like to line up the bottom and get the sides somewhat lined up. And before I press down to get it to really set, I do this on all 4 sides to make sure that everything lines up correctly. Once it does, I take my clips and I put one, or my clamps, put one in each corner. I'm going to lay that down, and we're going to go to work on the bunny. We're going to expose the adhesive on that little tail and just press it down in the bottom center of the bunny. And next we're going to work on adhering him to the sign. He's going to go on with just a little bit of glue. You don't need much. And once you get it on there, he is going to line up with the very bottom of the frame. I have him touching, and he's to the left of the letters. I'm going to take my clamps, and I am going to use the clamps to make sure that the bunny is nice and clamped down tight so he will not move. Next, we will work on our letters, and you just are going to take and look where they line up. I like to do them in order. I will do the first one, and then I'll show you what they look like all glued or all adhered with that adhesive, but I just remove the backing. I go and I look at where it goes. I line it up. The reason I'm going to just show you one is I've got bad eyes and I need to get up close when I adhere the rest of them so they adhere nicely. And this is what they look like once they are all adhered. I just press down on them all, make sure they look good, and I'm going to take off all the backing, and there is no stand with this sign, so this project is complete. I'd like to thank you for sticking with us this far through all these projects. If you like what you see, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing to our channel. We also are on social media. The Speckled Loon is on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and of course YouTube. Feel free to click the links below to follow us. Also, if you would like to support our channel, you can also shop thespeckledloon.com. Just go over there, click shop, and you'll see everything that we have for sale, including whatever I'm currently offering for DIY kits. I usually have 1 or 2 kits up at a time, and you can shop them and give these projects a try if you would like to make something yourself. Thank you so much for tuning in. Now back to the projects. We are on to project number 3, the middle project of our set, the bunny trio. And this is what it looks like all made up. It's got the 3 bunnies, 1 with a tail, 2 with a bow tie, and a backer and frame. I use Rhubarb for the middle bunny, Cascade Blue for the one on the left, and green for the one on the right. And I'm going to show you another color combo too once I go to do it. I used the foam brush for the backer, and I used the sponge for everything else. The little bunny tail and the little bunny bow ties all have an adhesive backer, just like those letters did on the previous project, and it just makes it easier with those teeny tiny pieces. And I'm going to use the clamps. This also comes with a little stand. You put it together and you rest your sign on it, and it displays nicely on your tiered tray. So here's what everything looks like all painted up. I used lavender on one of the bunnies and then Cascade Blue. They don't look different on camera, but up close they do look different. And there's a top part of this frame and a bottom part of this frame. They measure, the top one is a little bit taller than the bottom one and has a little more of an angle on it. I'll show you an up close part of that in a minute, but I just have started with the bottom one, and I'm gluing that by adhering a little glue on the bottom and just lining it up with the sides and the bottom of the backer. And it looks funny now, but the bunnies fit right in between the 2 frame parts. So here you can see that one's a little taller and it's got more of an angle. I'm going to apply the glue to the back of the top. And once that is done, then I'm going to lay that and lining it up with the side and the top of the sign. And then, like I said, it's got the space in the middle, and that's where your bunnies are going to line up and hang off the right and left sides. I'm going to go ahead and just clamp it down. We'll go to work on our bunnies. We can adhere the tail to the one that you want in the middle, and the little bow ties are going to go on the left and right. Again, you just go ahead and peel off that backing and then just adhere and press, and that should stay just fine. These are kind of like a industrial strength adhesive on that sticker paper. So I'm going to go ahead and unclamp it, and you're going to do a little test dry fit with your left and right bunnies, and then where you want the one in the middle. I just eyeball the one in the middle. But what you want to do is, once you get where you want it, and it doesn't show very good here, I'm marking the back with a pen, and then on the opposite side of the pen I'm going to go ahead, and that's where I can put my glue. That way I don't have any glue hanging off the back of my sign. Once I get it glued, I just line up that ear and the bottom with the frame and make sure you don't have any white showing to the left, and it's going to adhere that bunny, and then just clamping him on. It goes a little slower with this one. I'm lining it up, getting it where I want it, and then I'm going to turn it upside down, and I'm taking a pen and I'm just marking that, and then to the other side of that pen is where I am going to apply my glue. So there's how it marks. It's better on camera this time. Once I have it marked well, My pen was running out of ink, but once I have it marked well, I will go ahead and I will take the bunny off and I will apply the glue. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to just hold it where I don't want the glue to be, and then I'm applying the glue. And then again, I'm just kind of sliding him on there and lining up the ear and the bunny butt or the bunny bottom so it hangs off just slightly off the edge. And I'm clamping it. And then I'm going to get the third bunny ready. I'm just doing an eyeball of where it should go. I didn't measure exact. It's a very tiny sign, so you can just kind of wing it. You put a little bit of glue on that, and then you're going to go ahead, turn him over, and get him lined between his two other bunnies, and then give him, the clamps don't really reach for him very well, so I'm just pressing it really hard. I'm taking the other clamps off, and this project is all painted up. It does have a little slotted stand, like I said, so you go ahead and put that together, and then that's how it stands on the sand, sits on the stand, and this project is complete. Now you can see the two different ways it was painted. I think I like the one on the left better. I kind of like that coral color, but this project is now ready for display. Okay, get ready to stretch your crafting muscle a little bit. We're going to try some different stuff here. We are going to make these little bearded gnomes, and they are going to be on the end of your beaded garland. So you are going to get everything you need to make these gnomes and make their little beards, and then you have a bunch of beads that you are going to go ahead and string between the two gnomes. Now the little orange gnome comes already finished for you except for the beard. It's got a little hole at the top, the nose is already attached, and it's already painted orange. The little bunny is going to be painted blue, and then you're going to take a marker and color in the pink area of the ears. It's lined out so it's easy to color, and then you are going to string and trim the little beards on the gnomes. So what we're going to do first is excuse me, we're going to go to work on the gnome. So we are going to go ahead and set aside the string and all the things that we're going to be using for the garland part, and we'll get to that later. So like I said, the orange one, he's already finished, and then the blue one, or the other gnome, the bunny gnome, you're going to paint that. And I painted mine Cascade blue, and it will be showing in a minute. I think it's a real pretty blue for Easter. So, and then the nose comes for this gnome, and it has got the adhesive backing, and you've got the little ears that were painted white. And again, I just took that pink marker and went right in the line that is etched out for the ear, and I did the pink center on each ear. And I used the Arteza Ballet Slipper Pink for that, but you could use whatever you have on hand, or you could just leave it. And the nose for this project, it has got the adhesive backing just like those letters and bunny tails did for the previous projects. And the little ears can only go a certain way. They have a little arch to them, and they line up with the arch on the bunny. If you did them the wrong way, they'd look funny. And that's what I'm showing you there. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to attach that nose, since all I have to do is remove that little paper backing, and I just line it up with the bottom there of where the nose goes. You'll see, it's pretty obvious. So now what I'm doing with the ear is I'm lining it up where I want it to be. I'm hanging on to it, and I'm going to take that pen out again like you did with the bunny trio, and I'm going to mark where it overhangs, so then I know exactly where to put my glue. So I'm putting the glue on, and I am lining it up. There's like a little eyebrow on that gnome, and I'm just going to press that super hard, and then I'm going to get out my clamp and clamp it. I'm going to go to work on the right ear, and I'm doing the same thing where I'm marking it, gluing it, lining it up with the little eyebrow, and clamping it. So now I'm going to show you how we do the beards. You're going to take the green for the carrot because it's like the leaves for the carrot. You're going to fold each string in half. You're going to put the loop through the front, pull it to the back, and then you're going to feed the ends through and pull it tight. And then there's like 7 or 8. You're going to want to do them all. I'll show you again on the second one. Loop it through, pull the ends, pull it tight. And then you can just lay it down, and then now I've got them all. Then I like to give it a trim. This one I'm going to give a traditional, I guess, V-shaped gnome beard, shorter on the sides and longer in the middle. And I can trim that up if it doesn't look right, but it looks pretty good. And I'm going to show you a couple of different looks you can do with your beards if you want. If you want a girl gnome, you just use 3 pieces of string or yarn on each side and braid them. And then you can just do a little elastic. I just tied mine at the bottom. This little guy, I did the same beard, but I unraveled all the yarn and combed it through and gave it that kind of frizzy look. So we're going to go ahead and get the beard on the bunny. And once the beard is on the bunny, we'll go ahead and trim that. And I trimmed that one straight across. Now you're going to take your batch of string. We're going to get working on the beads now. And you want your string to be folded in half. It's going to have a loop at one end and then the 2 ends lined up at the other end. You're going to take your tape and just a little piece of masking or painter's tape or even just scotch tape at the end. Works just fine. And that gives us a little point to thread things through. You're going to take your loop end and you are going to loop it through the carrot gnome. And then you're going to take the end and bring it through the loop so that it looks like this on the carrot gnome. Here's your front and your back. Okay, that's going to serve as our end stopper for the beads. So now you're going to take out your beads and I'm going to sort them. I have got 5 small white, 5 large unpainted, 5 painted, 5 large white, 5 small unpainted, and 5 more colored ones. And that's just how I have them lined up. And what I'm going to do then is string them on in that order. So I'm going to start with the white one at the top, follow it with a natural one, and I'm just putting a toothpick inside that tape to make it very easy to feed everything through. The toothpick acts kind of like a big sewing needle. And then I'm going to pull them all down toward the carrot base. Then I'm going to string them all on. I'm on the last length, and I'm showing you how I got it going through the bunny. I feed it through from the top to the back, and then I pull it back through to the top, and then I go around to the other side. I'm on the top, and I'm going to bring it around to the back and up through the back. What I do after that is I pull it through, and then I'm going to cut a bunch of the excess off. So then I have my 2, I guess, strings separated. And then I'm going to tie a series of knots with that string and then finish it off with a bow. You will see that in just a minute. I tried to get close and go slow so you could see, but I think you're going to get the gist of it. If you tie a double knot, you're going to be good. So I just take these 2, I separate them, and I tie a knot in the back, and I bring it around, and I tie a knot in the front, and then I am going to tie a bow. And that's just getting this on there nice and secure so I don't have to worry about it breaking. If your string does break, just get another string and string it through, but it should last just fine. This is like baker's twine, so it's really a durable string. And then your garland just serves as a little accent on your shelves, complements all your designs. It's cute hanging off a hook. You can get command hooks for your tiered trays or magnetic hooks if you've got a metal tray, and just hang it like that or just drape it over anything. I did double knot my bow as well, just to make sure it's nice and secure. and I'm cutting the excess string off, and then your beaded garland is complete. Okay, creative friends, we are on the last project of our set, and who doesn't love a good pickup project? This one is so cute. It's a cute little blue truck for spring, and I use the foam brush on the backer, and I use the little sponges on everything else, and on the little tires for the truck you could totally just use your black paint marker if you had one on hand. And I think you can get paint markers at the Dollar Tree. I'm not sure. They were there at one point in time. So we are going to go ahead and take a look at this truck. It holds little eggs in it, and the surprise is the eggs are removable. And the reason that is because I've included a little trio of Peeps bunnies that fit in the back as well. So it can either hold the eggs or the bunnies, and that's just my gift to you. I always include a little extra gift with every kit I do, and I thought that one was just kind of a fun little touch. So also, just so you know, the little tires for this also have that adhesive backing, and this one likewise comes with a little stand. Again, you go ahead, you pop whatever you want to use for your contents of your truck, and then you pop it on your stand, and it is ready for display. So this is what this one looks like all painted up. Again, I used my paint markers on the wheels, did a couple coats just to make sure they look nice and black, and then on the little rail part you could use a brown marker, or you could use brown paint. I used brown paint. And then I use green paint on that little frame. I'm just going to do a dry fit and then line that up, and then apply my glue and use that same method where I tip everything up and I line it up on like the bottom and the sides as best I can. Turn it over to the other side, make sure it's all lined up, and keep doing that, and then I will clamp on the corners just like we did on our other sign, and just set that aside for a minute, and we will go to work on getting our truck and wheels placed. What I like to do is a dry fit. I put the wheels so they line right up with the bottom of the frame and they're resting there. Then what I want to do is I want to affix my truck down nice and tight, and then work with the wheels. So I'm using clamps or tape or both. If you don't have the clamps, tape will work. And then I am taking off one of the tires, and I am peeling off that protective backing to expose the adhesive, and then I am just pressing it down. And I am doing the same exact thing with the other tire. So then what we can do is we can take our truck off and start to get that glued on. So I'm going to remove my clamps and the tape. I'm going to take off our truck, flip it upside down, and get my glue on. And again, I'm using that Star Bond glue, but you can just use your Dollar Tree super glue. Then I'm just kind of sliding it down on top of the wheels without touching it to the sign, and then I am clamping it down, and I am going to go work on the bed rail. That's this little straight part. There's the brace first, and so this little brace is going to go right on the top of the truck bed, and then this little rail piece is going to go on top of that, and that's going to serve as our holder for our eggs. So the first thing we need to do is to glue on this little straight spacer. So I'm just going to take my glue, put a little bit on that spacer, align it right at the top of that, and press it up flush and press it down so it will hold. Then we are going to take this little bed rail piece, and right on the bottom rail is where we're going to put our glue. We don't want any on the top rail. We want that to be glueless so that our eggs and our bunnies will slide in and out. So go ahead and take the glue and apply it to that little rail edge. Flip it over, and you're going to put it right on top of that spacer so it sits off from the truck just the exact width of your painted eggs and your painted bunnies. And you're going to line it up with the bottom of that spacer. And I'll bring it up close so you can kind of see how it is. If you want to make sure that you have room for the egg, you can put an egg in the bed and just kind of use it as something to press up against. And there you can see that it's lined up right at the bottom of that spacer, top of the truck bed. So once it's dry, put your eggs in, and there you go. And take your eggs out, put your bunnies in, and this project is complete. It does have a little stand as well, and that's what it does. And there's what it looks like with a lavender egg in there instead of the coral. So this one is ready to go on your tiered tray, and we are done with our projects for this. Now it's time for the final reveal. Oh my goodness, we made it. We've got all 5 projects complete. Now it's time for our final reveal. Here's our adorable little truck and the bunnies. And remember, those are interchangeable. The bunnies are already painted for you. And then we can bring in our beaded garland. On that, I painted the carrot for you. So that one was partially done. And then the rest you created all yourself from start to finish. And I hope you are happy with your projects. I'd love you to share them on social media, and then I can see them too. I love seeing that. And if you did make them, let me know what you think if you ordered the kit. I love to hear from my customers. Let me know if there's anything I can improve, anything that you really like about it, and that way I can keep improving the kits every month for a great experience for you. So here's what everything looks like on my little tiered tray. There's our garland that we draped over, our egg trio sign kind of tucked in behind there, and then our little eggs and our little peep bunnies ready to be changed out, the hop on over sign, and your little bunny trio sign. There they all are. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Thanks for hanging with me, and we will see you next time. Don't forget to look for the loon.